Hi everyone, my name's Lorraine and welcome to See Through the Big C. So this is a conversation all about cancer, and I'll be interviewing different people in the community, whether that's people diagnosed with cancer, healthcare professionals or people caring for somebody with cancer. And I cannot wait to meet so many amazing people. So here we go. Hi Joanne, and welcome to this week's episode of See Through the Big C. I'm really excited to have you here to tell your story. I know we've known each other for a while, but it's only recently I discovered about your cancer journey and diagnosis. So how I usually start every episode with a guest is to tell me about what was Joanne like before she was diagnosed with cancer.
First and foremost, I really want to thank you, Lorraine, and the Lewis Foundation for having me today. I just feel very privileged to be able to share my story and just to get to it. My life before the Big C was vibrant. You know what I mean? I really was in the social scenes. I am a very type A personality, was very involved not only in the community, in church, but had a career that was really thriving. I was working with the United Nations in Nairobi at the time, born and bred, but went to uni and had a lot of engagements that were outside of Nairobi and Kenya. But my life was just one of enjoyment. That's the word I'd use. I loved the life that I was living as a single woman in Nairobi. I had a good job. I had a good career. I had a lovely apartment. I had a thriving social life. I was living my life.
Yeah, it was good. It sounds really good.
It was good.
And so then what took you to the steps where you found out that you had been diagnosed with cancer?
Yes. So just to give a little bit of context, in April 2014, my sister, Jackie, only sister, she lives in Melbourne in Australia, and she had just gotten her baby. I was just about to get her baby and obviously needed family support. And being her only sister, she said, "Are you willing to come and spend some time with me?" And I was like,
of course.
Of course.
You
know, I will make my way to Australia. So did whatever I needed to do, got the visas and took time off work so that I could spend some time with her. At that time, I had just started dating Fred, you know, just a few months earlier. So we were a new couple. Fred is my husband. And I ended up, asking him after my brother-in-law said, if you have met this guy and he wants to come, why not? You can make it a time for you guys to just get out of your normal routines. And Fred was like, of course, absolutely, I'd love to join you in Melbourne. So he joined me. Anyway, being in a new relationship, I was still getting to know him and also settling in the new baby. And Melbourne is far. When they say it's the land down under, oh my goodness, when they call Australia the land down under, they know exactly what it is that they're saying. So during the time that I was there, I had a lot of stomach discomfort. But I somehow shoved it to the side. Number one, because I wanted to be poised and proper. Because I'm in this new relationship, I just didn't feel comfortable talking about
of course,
matters and that sort of thing. But it had been 2 weeks since I had gone to
it was a long
the bathroom.
time.
And one day I just whispered to my brother-in-law, because I didn't want to involve my sister. She had a brand new baby that I haven't gone to the toilet for. And he's like, "Are you kidding me?"
It's a long time.
And he's like, "You need to tell Fred." Interestingly, Fred he's a medic, he's a doctor. And he's like, "Why didn't you tell him?" I'm like, "Okay, this is a situation. Let's now deal with it now." And I ended up being taken to the hospital and they said it was obviously quite serious. So I ended up getting what is an enema and being given some medication. They call it Movicol, but I call it Movitol because it literally moves it all. And that's a friend of mine who said that word, and I said that was really hilarious. Anyway, bringing it forward, I was very paranoid after that about eating because I didn't know what that would do to me, and I kept having persistent pain and discomfort. But it's like, I don't know if you've had like a headache or something that is just dull.
But it's just there in the background.
It's in the background. You're still functioning. You're still doing your thing, but it's there in the background. I don't know if you've...
Yeah.
So it was that sort of thing. Anyway, I come back to Kenya, obviously back to work, back to life, back to reality.
You just cracked on.
Yeah, right. I'm now back to Nairobi, and I get back to the office, and I'm living my normal life, but I'm still not 100%.
Yeah.
And I decide to see a gastroenterologist who then says to me that they highly suspect, based on the symptoms that I had, said to them, or what had told them, that it was IBS. And they're like, oh, it's highly likely this is IBS. And they gave me some tablets, some medication, some, concoctions, quote unquote, to drink. And I must say this, I really do hope that with the way things are in the world as pertains to medical studies and these sort of things, that people can go deeper into the root rather than just treating the symptoms. Because in my case, we were just treating the symptoms. And since the symptoms were being treated, I was okay.
Were you still in pain though?
I was in a lot of pain, but it was manageable because I knew what to take. I had somehow understood the protocol in terms of the medication.
So you could manage that pain.
Somehow manage the pain. But I just knew something was not right. Anyway, at this time I had signed up with a personal trainer at a gym local to me. And I had gone for a session with him that evening. Yeah. And he asked me to do a plank, and I could hardly do a thing. Yeah. And he said, oh, hyping me up, Joanne, you can do this, you can do this. And, I told him my body is frozen. I cannot physically do this. And he helps me up, and I sit down, and I get a glass of water, but I'm still feeling a bit disoriented, a bit woozy. Yeah. It's just not myself. Yeah. And I tell him, I'm sorry, I just can't have the session. I would like to go home. Yeah. And he said to me, are you okay to drive? I said, yeah, I'm fine. And he walked me to my car.
And you just drove home?
And I drove my way. I drove home, and it was only less. It was actually less than 5 minutes. Yeah. Getting home, my apartment was on the third, so the ground floor and then 3 floors up, so 4th floor. And it took me maybe more than 5 minutes to go up those, because I kept stopping after every flight.
What is it? Just stomach pains, was it?
The pain and also the breathlessness. I was just not myself. And when I got into the apartment, I didn't even switch on the lights. Literally just went straight to my bedroom, straight to bed.
Which is not
just
you.
Wore my pajamas. Didn't even eat, didn't even shower, which is very, unlike me. And just went straight to bed. And when I woke up in the morning, obviously it's a work day. Yeah. I was waking up, of course, to go to work, but I could hear my phone ringing. It was right next to me, but it sounded like it was miles away, like it was in the living room, another part of the house. And as I tried to reach out for the phone, it fell down. And I was like trying to reach out for it, and I somehow tumbled onto the floor, picked it up, and it was Fred on the other side of the line. And as he said to me, are you okay? I've been trying to call you. And I said, no, I'm not fine. I'm not okay. And he says, can you get yourself to a hospital? Call an Uber, call a taxi. Yeah. And I said to him, okay, I'll do exactly that. Anyway, remember I said to you I was quite switched on. I wanted to do things my way, a bit in control. Yeah. I decided, listen,
I'm okay.
I'm okay. Yeah. I'll find my way to the office, not the hospital. So I took a shower, got to work a bit. I think I was slightly late, if I recall, but quite tired. But I just sort of went on with the day, but I couldn't make it to lunchtime. And just about lunchtime, one of my colleagues came to just walked into my office for some random thing.
Just checking in.
And I had just dropped my pen. I don't know what was this thing with dropping stuff. And as I was going to pick the pen, I was literally frozen. I said, could you help me pick the thing up? He's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, you can pick that.
You can do that. And then he saw
that you were genuinely in pain.
Genuinely not in a good state. And they had seen I was not too well that day. Yeah. And he suggested to take me to the nearby clinic. So across the road from where the UN offices are in Nairobi, there is what is called a satellite clinic of the Aga Khan Hospital. And they took me there. He took me there. Yeah. Drove my car, took me there. And when we got there, the people said that we would much rather based on how she looks, go to the main hospital.
Did you feel really bad at that stage?
I was just, the thing is, I have such a high threshold of pain.
You just worked.
Yeah, and I think it's something I'll probably touch on later. I just feel stoic.
Yeah.
In life. Like, I just crack on with it.
Yeah, I just get on with it, yeah.
I just get on with it because I've had so many things, happen in my life.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, this is just one of those, and we'll whiz by. We'll move on. So I didn't pay much attention to it. So when we got to the main hospital, I was taken straight to the triage where they do the weighing and all this, and they put you through to a doctor just to sort of figure out what it is that could be the problem. And Fred calls me while I'm there, and he says, I need to talk to the doctor that is there. And the doctor, first was like, we don't take phone calls, we don't. And I'm like, you need to
speak to
him. And I think that was literally God coming through for me, because the things that Fred said to him, he said, you need to do a biopsy, and he said some certain bloods. And the gentleman said, those are very expensive tests. Okay. And Fred said,
you need it.
You're not paying, you're not the one paying for them. Like, they need to be done.
Yeah.
And that was a lifesaver.
So if Fred wasn't there, would you have asked for anything? Would you have just accepted it?
Because I would have just accepted it, because number one, I did not understand or did not know what is self-advocacy like I do now.
Yeah.
And number two, I was just like, I just needed help.
Yeah.
I was a little desperate. So whatever they said,
you would accept.
Roll with it, right? Because they're the doctors, they know what they're doing, And it's the same way, like when you come to my office as a professional, I expect that you trust me, that you to do everything for the best interest of the client. So similarly, I thought that they ought to have my best
question. Yeah,
they ought to have my best interests. Anyway, they did the test that I just mentioned, as well as a colonoscopy and an endoscopy, and I had to be admitted to the hospital because they found out immediately that my blood count was extremely low. Average is between 9 to 11 is just average. 11 is what should be normal. Let's consider 11 normal, and I was at 5.2.
So really low.
So I was literally like a walking corpse. They couldn't understand how I was functioning and still doing, even driving, And they said I have to be admitted so that they could give me blood.
Yeah.
And I contacted my church, for an urgent appeal for blood.
Yeah.
And over 100 people rocked up to the hospital. Incredible. My church is Parklands Baptist in Nairobi. And they sent all these people just turned up to the hospital.
Just
family members came, lots and lots of people, and a lot of them teased me that they found out they had conditions when they came to
thanks, Joanne.
Someone like, oh, I found out I have diabetes. I found out I have high blood pressure.
Yeah.
But just that love that I
people turned up,
right?
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to anyone who gives blood, because I was just saying to Lorraine earlier that my body is right now functioning because other people
gives blood
give blood on my behalf. So I'd encourage people to donate blood when they see such an appeal. That's on the side note. So moving forward, I'm admitted at the hospital, right? We're waiting for all these other tests to come through. And when they found that I was at least reasonably okay, they said that they would discharge me as we wait for the
results.
The results. So they discharged me, and of course, back to work.
You were going back to work.
I'm going back to work. I have a job. I need, I need to work.
Yeah, of course.
So that I can be paid, right? Although even if I didn't work, I'd still get paid, but I just have that work ethic.
Yeah, that's how you are. Yeah.
So go back to work, and then the doctor called me on a Friday and says that we would want you to come back, and we would want you to come with somebody.
Oh, okay.
At this time, my dad had traveled away. He's an avid golfer, so he was away for his golf tour. Yeah. And I called a close friend of mine, and she had just lost her dad to esophageal cancer of the esophagus, and we're very, very close friends. And she said, I will be there. I'll take you to the hospital. And just a little side note there, it's important to have people that you can reach out to at any given time.
Which is quite good that your friend, you know, would offer to do that. How did it make you feel, though, when they said bring somebody with you? Did you have any worries?
I called Fred and I mentioned to him that, and he was a little quiet. And he said, as soon as you get there, I also want to be on the phone.
Okay.
When they put, so I suspected that it was a bit.
It could be something.
Something, but
not
I didn't think it could be what I was about to be told. So I called my mom as well, and she's quite a distance. The place, in just purposes of distance, it's like Milton Keynes and Northampton.
Okay, yeah.
So she had to find her way, and that's in Kenya. She was in Karen.
Okay.
Now coming to Parklands where the hospital was, so quite a distance. And she said to me, "I'll also be there. Just give me some time."
Yeah.
Obviously, she was coming on her own because my dad was away. On his golf tour. But as soon as he had, I called him to tell him that I'm on my way to the hospital and all this. He said, if I'm needed, I'm on the next flight back, which is anyway what ended up happening. And I'm going ahead of myself.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
And when we get to the hospital and we're ushered in like really quickly, you know what I mean? Like they were expecting. Yeah. I didn't have to wait. And the doctor was quite somber, and he's like, we've done the biopsy and we've done all the tests, and the reason why you lost so much blood is because you have a 14-centimeter tumor in your pancreas. Wow. It's literally not good, and it's malignant. And that time I'm trying to think.
What do you mean?
Malignant, benign, which was
what does it mean? Yeah.
And then he's like, it's cancerous, and right now the prognosis doesn't look good. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
Again, the Joanne at that time is very, like, I need to have the facts and know what next. But what stopped me in my tracks was the scream. My friend let out a scream like I've never,
Yeah.
And then, like the women at the reception, the nurses came running in.
Yeah, to say what's going on.
What's going on? And they were going towards her.
Yeah.
The doctor's like, no, you should be dealing with, the other one, me now. But I was very composed.
Was your mum there as well at that point?
My mum was literally just walking in, and
Fred
she
was
on
on the phone.
Fred, we hadn't yet put him on the phone, and she walks in, and my friend is crying, and she's like, "What? What is it?" And the doctor says exactly what he said, and my mum is like, "Okay, let's call Dad."
Yeah,
and we call Dad, and Dad says, "I'm on the next flight. I'm coming," and that's, for me, is one of the biggest memories I have, core memories of what it feels to be loved and to know that you belong to people. And I'll talk a little bit about that, because everyone was like, what do we do?
Yeah.
And I said to them, and I said to the doctor, I'm the patient here.
Yeah.
I'd want to have a word with you.
Yeah, of course.
What's next? And he said that his proposal is that I see an oncologist. So we booked time to see an oncologist.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, Lorraine, I won't even go into the ins and outs of the oncologist situation, because first and foremost, cancer care at that time was not the way I would have expected, because there were very few oncologists in Nairobi at that time.
Yeah.
And cancer had just started becoming very rampant.
Yeah.
So you'd have my appointment was for 7:30 in the morning, and we were there by 7 o'clock. By 6:30 p.m., Lorraine, we hadn't been seen.
Hadn't been seen?
Had not been seen.
Wow.
Meaning we had spent the entire day, and there were people in front of us still waiting, who were in much more critical states than I was. But also, you can imagine when you're waiting, you can't leave. So we hadn't eaten, and this is a patient, you're sick, you're weak.
Yeah.
Because if you leave,
then you've lost your place.
You've lost your place. So it was quite messy, to be honest.
It sounds it. And so what would you do? So if, say, you went there all day, but you get to 6:30 and you're not seen.
So they told us we cannot be seen.
And then you come back the next day.
Now, this is where the thing happened. She says, we're not sure we can see you the next day because the doctor is now unwell. So she will not be coming in tomorrow. She's been admitted to the hospital. the same hospital where she's practicing.
Is where
apparently she had something happened and she was admitted.
Wow.
Anyway, there's a God in heaven, because what happens is one of Fred's really good friends, he's a heart surgeon, at the time in Nairobi, but now lives and works in the US. Very influential in that hospital, and a very good friend of my dad as well.
Yeah.
Another doctor as well. They sort of brainstormed and they said that, we'll see what we can do to get you seen, because I was really not in a good state. Yeah. And when the woman was discharged the next morning, because she was in the same place, she came to the clinic and opened it.
And so then you were able to be
see me. But I have to say this, the consultation in itself, here in England, we have the NHS, so people get complimentary medical service. Yeah. Of course, we pay taxes, but you know what I mean. For just without even touching you, just about £100, just nothing. They haven't talked to you, and that's a mandatory payment. So you can imagine all these people who had been waiting.
And if you can't pay,
if you can't pay, sorry, you die. It's as simple as that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that really bothers me, and one of the things I really. And that's why I love the work that you do. And I really would hope at one point to be able to do something similar back home. You know what I mean?
And
it's very troubling.
There's a cost. So every stage of the medical care is a cost.
Even for me to get the bloods out, they charge me for that. Every single thing that they do to you comes at a cost. So there's a consultation and everything. And we'll talk about how it came to, I think I can say it now. Everything came to about £60,000
for your cancer care.
For my cancer care, and what saved me is that I was working for the UN and had a private medical cover, so that's what
enabled you to have your treatment.
Me to get the treatment. But what usually happens with most families, they end up selling land, they end up selling property. It's very common that families sell their family home to be able to get their patients' care. And one of the things that has happened is most people now go to India, because India has more very good cancer treatment and is cheaper than Kenya, but also the logistics of that requires that you have someone to go with you, getting all the paperwork and everything done. But that has been an option I've had maybe 5 family members and family friends, another maybe 10 or more, go to India in the last couple of years for treatment, and you're not guaranteed that it's gonna work or it's gonna make it, or you're gonna make it. Because what happens is when they go to India, and it's important for me to mention this, is you stay there for a couple of months, because they have to treat you, right? And then at some point you may need to go back home. And they give you the medication to take back with you. And to be administered the medication in those hospitals, they charge you for that.
So there's a cost to
There's a cost to everything. So if I'm to take my chemo treatment to them, they will charge me to administer that. And for the nurse who is going to administer it. And I'm sorry to say, half the time they don't even administer it the right way. So there's a very big chance. And I want to mention, I won't name names, but a friend of mine who I had a deep conversation with, her brother currently is in India. Same situation, went back to Nairobi, was given his cancer drugs, the infusions and everything, but they were not administered properly, got further complications. And as we speak, they had to take him really quickly back to India. It was an emergency. So as we speak right now, he's in India, and they say that he has somehow regressed from where he was because some things were not administered properly.
I mean, I'm glad for you though, you were fortunate to have your medical insurance for your work to be able to afford your care, because I can't imagine how scary that must be to be in a position where you need treatment, but you can't afford it.
Yeah, but with that also comes a lot of insensitivity, because some people would tell me, oh, but you're lucky you have this job that can pay for these things. for you, you're advantaged. There's some people.
Did it make you feel guilty then?
Because it would depend on the context.
Yeah.
Number one, it made me feel guilty, and it's perhaps one of the things that I struggle with to date. I find it very hard to even pray and ask God for stuff, because I'm like, you've given me a second lease of life.
Yeah.
Why should I demand more?
Yeah.
And it's something that I've been working on. But also for me, the realization that someone said to me when I was resigning my job to go into, we'll talk about this later, into coaching, that who resigns from a UN job, and why would you resign from that job? And there's a possibility that you could get sick again.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I'm not going to get sick again. I know that I'm protected. I know I'm covered.
And I've done everything
God is with me and I will be fine. But I decided, and I think that was one of the decisions I made, that I was not going to live in fear, because cancer can put in a lot of fear in you, fear of the future, fear, of the unknown, fear of what if it comes back, because they technically say you cannot be healed, quote unquote. They usually say, oh, it's like in remission.
Yeah.
And
I was going to ask you though, so taking you back, so you said you were first diagnosed, you had your family around you, and then you had the struggles to even get seen by anybody. Fortunately, because of Fred's contacts, he was able to help you to get seen. What was the actual process like? What was your treatment like?
Yes, we'll go there.
Yeah.
So before I go into the treatment, the first thing that they were very categorical about, the oncologist, the woman, said it's inoperable. But something inside me, and this is where she said to me that maximum 6 months, we're looking to go into palliative care in the next few months. And when she was speaking, I said, I decree and declare this is not my portion.
Yeah.
The blood of Jesus. I'm a Christian. I refused it, Lorraine. I said, it is not. I mean, you cannot wish me death. That ain't happening. I'm going to live and testify like I am now, sharing my experience. You know what I mean? I knew without a shadow of a doubt that was not the end of my story.
Yeah.
I was very certain about that. So I went back to my gastroenterologist, and of course she said to him, oh, it's inoperable. And I said to him, I need to speak to you, but do you know anyone who is a surgeon?
Yeah.
And he referred me to my favorite, most wonderful doctor. His name is Dr. M.R. Khan. Big shout out to you, Doc. Very good friend of mine to date. And the doctor comes and sees me, and he says to me, in my opinion, it's operable. Yeah. But you're the patient. So what do you want? And I said to him, you and me, we're going to form a formidable force. And we're going to make sure that we have the surgery and everything will be fine. And he says, that's the kind of language I want to hear. Yeah. The woman was very, very opposed to it. Yeah. But I said, my body, my choice. Yeah. It's my decision, And I have worked hard to release her in terms of forgiving her and how I feel. But I must be honest, she left a very bitter taste in my mouth. Yeah. And I went to see her a couple of times long after my treatment, and she was very surprised, of course, that I'm alive and well.
Well, I'm glad you are.
I'm very high heels, Lorraine. Yeah. Looking very smart, looking very lovely, but it is what it is. Yeah. And the reason I'm sharing this is because you must learn to be your own advocate. Yeah. Back to the process. When Dr. Emma Khan and I met up, he said to me that this is a very complex situation. However, I have a team of doctors, him, and an amazing doctor who became a very close friend of my dad along the way, Dr. Mwangi, and the anesthetist team and some nurses, and they were going to form a whole team to support me to get into the surgery. So this was August going into September of 2015. So this is 6 months after the Australian incidents. And they said to me that you need to prepare, we need to make sure that the blood that you received has settled. Yeah. And they said, no, we need to put you in for a couple more units just to make sure that you have enough blood, let it settle, and then we're going to have the surgery. And during this time, I said to Dr. Mwangi, who was the other doctor, I would want to go on a retreat, and may the Lord rest his soul in eternal peace. Unfortunately, he passed away last year. And by this time, the time that we're talking about his passing, he had formed a very good golfing and personal relationship with my dad. They had become really close.
Yeah.
So I feel very sad about it, but he was very instrumental to where I am now, and I'll share what happened. So when we go to see him, he says, no, you can't. You cannot do that. And I said to him, I've survived this long. Yeah. Nothing has happened. I really need that retreat because I need the clarity. Little did I know that it's like it was seeding into my heart to become a coach, even though I know what a coach is. Yeah. Because it's like, I need time before the surgery.
Yeah, because you've been through a lot, actually.
I've been through so much, but I also needed time to just, number one, absorb
and process what you've been told
that I was going through. Number two, sort of think to myself, what do I need to do in case
something does happen,
anything happens? And
were you scared during that time?
No.
You never felt?
Interestingly, what I felt was, let's get over and done with it.
Yeah.
I was a bit tired with all the poking, the prodding, the tests, the hospital.
You just wanted the operation to just happen.
Wanted the operation to happen. And whatever, for me, I kept calling it a foreign body. I kept saying, whatever foreign body is in my body,
want it out.
I just want it out.
Yeah.
I just want it out.
Yeah.
So that was my motivation. That was your focus, I was just like, it's not meant to be in me. It just needs to get out.
You could kind of separate it.
I had talked. In fact, it's so funny you mentioned that, because I said that to a friend on Saturday. There was the thing, and me, and I had somehow started to deal with the thing outside of me. And that's how you were able I had compartmentalized my life.
That's how you were able to deal with it.
I remember I'm still going to work. I'm still doing.
You're still working.
I'm still going for my social gatherings. I'm still going out with my friends. Like nothing was stopping. I was still going to church every Sunday. Anyway, the doctor says, okay, you've made a point. I'll allow you a couple of days to go for your retreat.
And then you would go back.
And I would have to be admitted to the hospital. And he said, if anything happens in your retreat, you need to call us immediately.
How were you feeling? Were you well, or were you?
No, I was very ill.
Yeah.
And I'll bring it to this in the hotel where I was staying during the retreat. It was hosted by a group called the Vincentian Fathers, and it was a huge, very hot place, humid, very extremely, and you can imagine you're sick, and then it was hot. But to cut a long story short, the man said, there's someone here called Joanne, the priest, and that she will be well, whatever it is. And I was called in the front out of probably 1,000 people. And that gave me a bit of hope. But when I got to the hotel room that night, all hell broke loose. I started throwing up, but not just throwing up. It was like,
you can explain it,
yeah. It was like, everything came out. I had nothing. I was not eating. I was hardly eating. So whatever water I had drunk got finished. Yeah. And what was now coming out was a green substance, which now I understand is bile.
Yeah.
And I was in extreme pain. I had to lay on the floor because the floor was like I don't know what tiles. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
And I just needed, because I was boiling, I was sweating. No, Fred was with me.
Fred with you.
And Fred calls the doctor, and the doctor says she needs to come now. Yeah. The thing is, the retreat center and the hospital were 2.5 hours.
Oh God.
Drive. And they asked for the hotel pillows, put me on the back seat. The most horrible journey. But I said, on the way, can we stop at the retreat center? He's like, what are you saying? You need to go to the hospital. I said, I need to stop at the retreat center. Interestingly, when we were just entering, the priest who had said to me about my healing just happened to be coming out of like some nearby place. I don't know where he was coming from. And we stopped the car, and he, said, prayed for me. And I'm like, that's all I needed.
And then I can go to the hospital.
Exactly. And I think that for me is such it's cemented in my memory how keen I was for that prayer, because in as much as I was in so much pain, it gave me some sense of peace.
Yeah, of course.
And why I'm saying that is because everyone going through this journey needs their own form of their anchor, right?
Yeah.
For me, that was God, yours, right? For someone else, it could be whatever. Yeah. But just having something that you know you can really hold on to, prayer, something that is meditation, something that is very personal to you. Yeah. And when we got to the hospital, Dr. Mwangi came immediately. And he's like, this is not good. This is what I was dreading, you know.
And so they have to operate like
so they now had to, no, they couldn't operate immediately. That was on the Saturday. Yeah. The earliest I could be operated was the Tuesday. Oh, wow. Because they had to do tests. But in the meantime, I was in the hospital. They knew how to manage it. Yeah. But I was in excruciating pain. Yeah. Anyway, on the Tuesday, the 16th of September, they admitted me into surgery. I had no idea. My Pastor Amos shout out, called me, and he said to me that you will be fine. See you on the other side of the operation.
And you felt okay?
I felt okay. And I had never had no operation. I'd never had anything before, so I didn't have any, nothing to compare it to. Nothing to compare to. I just went in anyways. And Fred had come from the UK.
And this is your family?
And my family was there, and a really good friend of mine, her name is Snazzle, and my friend Monica, good friends, and Miriam, very good friends of mine were there for me. And 8 hours.
Is that how long your surgery was?
The surgery. 8 hours and something. And they had said it's a very long surgery. After the surgery, they would take me to ICU, then from ICU to HDU,
and then eventually
to the. So they were looking at about maybe 3 weeks, a month in the hospital. Lorraine, the miracles happen. Doctor Khan finished operating me, and he turned to wash his hands and whatever. He'd take out his surgery, you know what I mean, his surgery gear and all that. And I opened my eyes and I said, "Hi, doc. How did it go?" He was in absolute shock. It has never happened to him ever.
I believe I could do you.
So what does that mean? He said that could only be Joanne for real. Exactly. And he was absolutely in shock. But that meant that I didn't have to go into ICU.
So you didn't go?
So they took me to HDU. And when they went into HDU, I had his number. I kept saying, "Doc, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here." But he's like, "You're on heavy drugs." I was on morphine.
Yeah, so you can't just be let out the hospital.
Be let loose, you know. and but there's something that happens psychologically with me. I just want the thing to let's move on.
Let's be done.
But I learned a lot of patience in that process. I was very fortunate because by the third day I was doing really well. Yeah. And then I was moved to the Princess Zara, which is like a private, you know, the top tier private part of the hospital where they could administer some of this treatment, but they also had a bed, meaning that Fred could stay over with me, and that was very helpful. So what was meant to be a month, 9 days later, I was discharged.
That's quick.
But I was not well because it was a major operation, and of course my entire core was affected. So I had to go through a lot of physio, you know, just to get my motions back. I had to get a lot of, you know, support to be able to walk. But that happened within a very short period of time.
So what would you say the recovery time was then?
My recovery, it took time, Lorraine, because after I got home, I needed some attention. So I had a nurse who would come to my parents' house to help me with just like, no one, not let anybody see me without my clothes. But just help me go to the bathroom. To shower, to take a shower. I could use the toilet and all that on my own, but just to take the shower, come out, just really make sure.
For personal
I was also taking personal care. I was also taking a lot of juices and smoothies because that's the only thing that I could keep. So just to make sure that they were given at the proper time. So I needed someone to attend. So give or take about 3 weeks. But on the third week, the Dr. Mwangi said there were too many people coming to see me.
You needed to rest.
And I felt that I needed to rest. And I had just I was planning to come to the UK anyway, so I had my visa. And Fred said to him, "Is it okay if she can come to the UK?" And he said, "Yes, let her come, but it's contingent on the healing
depends on that.
Of the operation area. So we need a couple more weeks." And another miracle happens. I go for him to check the things so that he can say when I would travel. And I said to him, I think I feel good. I'm okay. And he says, it's very weird.
Yeah.
But your core, where we operated, has healed really well.
Yeah.
So I don't see why you cannot travel in the next couple of days, but you need to wear compression stockings, and we have to give you some vaccinations.
Yeah.
Just because of your state.
Yeah.
And 3 days later, I was on a flight to
UK.
This was early October, in my favorite time of
Yeah.
now, when we're
Now.
having this interview. In the fall, I had never seen such beautiful colors.
It must be nice for you to have something positive after all that you've been through as well.
Yes, and also just the main concern was how I was to get here. They were concerned, if there's a clot or anything, but I had my compression socks. I arrived safe and sound in Birmingham. We were not, Fred picked me up from the airport, settled into his apartment. And one of the things he insisted is that I had to go to the gym every day.
To rebuild.
Just to rebuild. And that was very helpful. I hated it at the time, but it was necessary. Very helpful. And the gym we were going had a heated pool.
Yeah.
So I'd go and do a couple of laps.
Yeah.
Very painful, but necessary. But while we were there, he had booked me to see a doctor at the Spires, the private Spires hospital in Birmingham, just to see, what was done in Kenya. Just a follow-up sort of. And when we went and saw the woman, the doctor, she looked at everything that was done by Dr. Khan and his team in Kenya. And she says, we wouldn't have done it better. They have done a brilliant job.
And that gives you the reassurance.
That gave me so much
peace
reassurance.
Of mind.
And she said to me, I was not on any medication. I was okay. I said, I'm not on any medication. She says, go on and live your life. Yeah. But Dr. Mwangi had said to me, when you come back from England 3 weeks later, before me going back to work, I needed to see him.
Yeah.
So when I came back, he said to me, the reason I wanted you to go is I needed you to settle, your body to settle, but I feel you need to have chemotherapy.
Yeah.
To really hit it, because we never know if there are any.
Yeah, could be anything
that
left.
Have happened, because anything left, and also because I must mention this: when they were taking out the tumor, again, a miracle happened. The tumor was in a capsule, so literally, like the way a baby is in
so big.
The way a baby is in.
Oh yes, I know what you mean.
Fluid,
yeah.
The way a baby is covered.
Yeah.
The tumor was covered. So when they were taking it out, they literally just took it out like a balloon, sort of. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of course.
It was so much easier for them, but they cut around that area, took out my spleen and a few bits and pieces. That's why he said, because we did so much on you, we need to make sure that nothing went into the lymph nodes.
Yeah, so that's why they do the
chemo. For
us
us to do that, we need to do the chemo.
Yeah.
And I was very opposed to it.
Yeah.
Extremely opposed to it. Anyway, he spoke to me and said to me, Joanne, for your best interests, I think you should do it. My dad was there. My dad said, I agree with the doctor. Just do it. I said, oh, but it's agreeing, it's accepting. It is the thing.
But you needed it. Yeah, but you needed it.
So I went for chemo. Horrible experience, but my friend Miriam made it so much easier. Interestingly, I never threw up.
Yeah.
I was just nauseous. So I had all this anti-nausea medication. Yeah. I was weak. But I would go for chemo in the morning, go to work in the afternoon. I know. And no one knew other than my boss. He said, why are you coming to work? I'm like, I need to come to work.
Yeah.
Every time I had treatment, because I'd be the first person there, I'll be there by 6:30 in the morning. And by 1 o'clock,
you'd finish.
I'd be finished. And at 2, I'm sat at my desk.
Wow.
At work. Anyway, I went through the chemo.
Yeah.
I had 8 rounds of chemotherapy that were fortnightly.
Yeah.
And by the end of end of February, I think it was, that we finished. And shortly after, in Marchish, Fred came down to Kenya and proposed to me.
So that's, you had something positive.
My husband proposed to me, and I got married 6 months later. My anniversary is next week. The week after, October 15th.
Yeah.
All that to say, just to bring it here, and I'm sure you have a couple of questions, is I was in Kenya and I got really good treatment then. I'm very fortunate because from that time, obviously I had checkups here and there. They had to do an annual checkup just to make sure everything is okay. But after the 5th year, they said they no longer need to do it because there was
less likely, anything's going
fine. They said they don't see any signs of anything, and I'm extremely grateful. Because what that doctor had said was 6 months. Lorraine, as we speak today, it's 11 years.
That's amazing.
And a month now, since I went through the most traumatic incidents. A lot of it, I must say, apart from, it's very important to get medical attention, is the psychological aspect. What kills people, and I can say this hand on heart, is they give up. Do you understand what I mean? That's what I was talking about, the anchor. Cancer is very lonely. I had people around me, surrounded most of the time, but I felt like I was still on my own. And I realized that many people go through extreme loneliness and depression. I could not allow myself to get there. That's why I involved myself in so many activities. And I realized that has spilled over to even now. I'm always involved in one.
I know you are.
Always, Lorraine. I'm always up to something. I don't know if it's a trauma response. I don't know. No. But I must be up to something every single time. That has kept me going. Obviously, my faith has been so central to that. Just praying and just saying that I cannot, affliction cannot come to me a second time, and just really having that determination to look after myself. Eat well, hydrate, do the right things. Of course, these things are outside of your control because you could do the best thing. I know people, and lady I met, her son runs 10K almost 3-4 times a week. He has cancer and it's advanced at stage 4. And he eats clean, doesn't eat no processed food. So no one ever knows what can happen to them. But my call to action is just to really embrace life. And just believe that, that if you got to it, God will get you through it, and that you'll get the support and help that you need when the time comes. And that's why I'm so proud of the Lewis Foundation.
No, and I'm proud to know you as well. I mean, thank you for being so open and sharing your story. And I think what's been really helpful is the fact that, we live in the UK, and sometimes you hear people take the fact that you've got that healthcare access for granted. Like, you're telling stories of, people are out there in different countries where they're having to decide whether they can pay for medical care or not. You're choosing whether you can live or not on things that are outside your control. And sell land. So I think it's nice to hear a different perspective in terms of this is what happens in other parts of the world. And I'm so grateful and fortunate that you're still here today, because pancreatic cancer is one of the most aggressive forms of cancers. And I'm really glad that you're sitting here still.
Yeah, and just a point to note is with the pancreatic cancer, remember they took parts of my pancreas, right? So obviously the thing that they would automatically be like, she'll become diabetic. That's automatically what would happen. And I stayed for many years without any signs of raised elevated blood sugar, and immediately my blood sugar started getting elevated. Obviously we knew it's about the pancreas, but also my weight. I had to start taking control of that and really doing some things to also help me manage that. So I would always encourage people, it doesn't matter what it is, just get tested anyway, right? And even when you spot something that to you seems, I can cope with it, I don't need to see a doctor, just get it checked. Because for me, that one thing that I couldn't go to the bathroom ended up turning into something really life and death. But I must also give a big shout out to my family for just how they stood with me. And my dad kept telling me, you're my first child, you're not going nowhere. We're here till the wheels fall off, right? And that assurance that there are people who were like, you cannot die, you have to fight for your life. But again, I was also very, I was like, I like my life. I don't want to go anywhere. So I was very committed to fight for it. And obviously just have that mental attitude that no matter what, I'll be fine.
I think that's a great way to to end. But thank you, Joanne. I really loved hearing your story.
Thank you so much
for being open and honest.
Thank you so much for having me. And, just as I said to you, as we have finished the interviews, that I'm here to support the Lewis Foundation in whatever way, shape, or form.
And I know you mean that.
And I hope you'll come with me one day to Kenya.
I would love that to see. Yeah, absolutely. Love that.
Yes.
Thank you.
To see what happens.
Yeah, I would love that.
In other parts of the world.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you for listening to the See Through the Big C podcast. I hope you took a lot of value from the stories that is shared, and that it hopes to either educate, motivate, or inspire you to take action. So thank you for listening.